Welcome back. In this video, it's all aboard as we explore the Spanish high-speed rail system. Train travel is one of the best ways to get around Spain, and Europe for that matter. It's fast, environmentally friendly, relatively affordable, and easy to use if you know what to look for. Over the past few years, Spain has experienced a train revolution with multiple train operators entering the market. Today, we'll give you an overview of some of the train options and some helpful tips that you should know before you book your next rail trip in Spain. So join us as we start in Madrid and travel across Spain using the high-speed train network. We'll cover two of the largest services, RENFE and Iryo, and cover both long and medium-range products. Ahora todos a bordo! Welcome to Travel at Random. We're Trevor and Ryan. This channel started out of a love of travel. We're here to share unbiased and self-funded trip reports, hotel and flight reviews, and travel advice. We hope we inspire your next getaway. Check out our playlist in the description and browse the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Thank you for watching. Now, let's skip the traffic and speed into adventure on Spain's amazing rail network. If we asked you where Spain fell in the list of longest high-speed rail networks in the world, what do you think the answer is? Well, it may surprise you to hear that it's number 2, second only to China. Spain began operating its high-speed train network in 1992, and Madrid serves as the central hub for the country. RENFE is the state-owned rail company and has been in operation since 1992. Their high-speed service is made up of long-distance lines called AVE, Avant, which is a medium-distance service, and Avlo, which is their low-cost high-speed rail service. RENFE operates over 100 trains of varying classes, mostly from the Talgo manufacturer. Ouigo began serving Spain in 2021 and markets itself as a low-cost high-speed rail service. It is a spin-off company from the original Ouigo in France. They operate 9 TGV Euro duplex trains. Think of Ouigo as a train service that's similar to a low-cost airline, where the base cost is low and everything is an add-on. Iryo is the newest high-speed service, which started in 2022. This is the first privately owned high-speed train service in Spain. Trenitalia from Italy is the majority owner, shared with Spanish Air Nostrum and a Spanish investment firm. They operate a fleet of 20 Rosa 1000s. In general, high-speed rail in Spain is often the fastest and lowest cost option to get from point A to B, and in some key markets like Madrid to Barcelona is a direct competitor to air travel. When booking with RENFE, there are 10 types of service available. The service indicates the speed and range, so it's important to pay attention to what you're booking. For their high-speed services, AVE is generally the most direct and fastest option, and Avlo is their budget offering. Avant is their medium-distance high-speed train. All RENFE tickets, with the exception of their Avlo trains, include up to 3 pieces of luggage per person. If you're looking to book Avlo and have a large bag, be sure to compare the price to AVE. It may not be the cheapest option once you start adding on extras to your ticket. Just like a low-cost airline, with Avlo, your fare just gets you on board. Seat reservations, baggage, etc. will cost more. You may also see the Alvia service, which has a few more stops and can change track gauge to switch from high-speed rails to conventional tracks. Since it's the oldest and largest of the rail providers, RENFE has the most coverage and flexibility. In our research, we haven't found the pricing to be all that different between the carriers on similar routes. Let's talk about booking tickets with RENFE. For all of our trips featured in this video, we book direct with the rail operators. RENFE's website can be a bit of a challenge to navigate, and it doesn't always provide all of the important information up front. One of our bookings was from Cordoba to Valencia, which required changing train stations in Madrid. RENFE did alert us to this, but only well into the booking process. The website is also 95% translated to English, so you may run into a few screens here and there with Spanish, so just a heads up. Tickets are issued immediately as a PDF download, and they email you a copy as well. If you have a RENFE Mas account, you can view your tickets online as well. You can create an account for free. One very important tip, be careful selecting your seats during booking. All seats on AVE and Avant trains are reserved, and you cannot change your seat after booking. You also can't change your seat before payment once you've picked a seat. RENFE tickets can be loaded into your Apple or Google Wallet, but you'll need to go online and trigger an email which sends the link to your device. So do this after booking through their website. Let's start our journey. Our first train is on RENFE, on their medium-distance high-speed service Avant. This 35-minute train journey will take us from Madrid Atocha station to Toledo, which is about 46 miles. All high-speed trains in Spain require you to go through security where your bags will be screened. There are no metal detectors, but all luggage and personal bags are scanned. You do not need to empty your pockets or remove any clothing items. At Madrid Atocha, the Avant trains are on the lower platform, Planta Baja, or ground floor. There are a number of shops with snacks, drinks, and such outside of the ticketed area. There are a few options behind the security checkpoint. There is a public restroom you can use for free once you're past the security screening. So if you don't want to pay €1, you can find it in your platform 13. Boarding was started about 15 minutes before the scheduled departure. Our train was completely full at 12:15 p.m. on a weekday. You board these cars in the middle, and there's a luggage area when you board. It's not very large and quickly filled up. The overhead storage above the seats is large enough to accommodate medium-sized bags, so if there isn't room, it's not the end of the world. We were in seats 143 and 144 in car 2. These cars are arranged in a 2-2 seat layout. There are coat hooks on the wall near the seat numbers. Each seat had a European power outlet. They were both in between the seats on this train, but their position can vary. There was also a footrest, reading light, and a large tray table with a cup holder. There was enough legroom and the seat was comfortable. It's definitely more legroom than an economy seat on an airplane. There is room on the floor for small bags and backpacks, but plenty of overhead storage for larger items, even medium and large suitcases. The bottom of the shelf is clear so you can keep an eye on your bags. Each train car also had a restroom. They were simple and clean. Our train ended up leaving about 11 minutes late. The ride was smooth and quiet and took about 35 minutes. Since this was a short trip, there was no Wi-Fi, entertainment, or food service on board, but it really isn't needed. Overall, this was a comfortable way to get between Madrid and Toledo. It was pretty basic, but at less than €14, which is about $16, we were happy with the product and the service. Our next RENFE trip is the AVE, the high-speed, long-distance train. We're taking it today from Cordoba through Madrid to Valencia. This is done by two different trains with a connection and a transfer in Madrid Atocha to San Martin. Both the trains we booked were AVE in comfort class. These train cars feature 1-2 seating with single seats on one side. We started our trip in Cordoba. The train originated in Seville. Since this was an intermediate stop, we were allowed down on the platform about 10 minutes or so before it arrived in the station. The train was only at the station for about 5 minutes before departing. The larger luggage storage areas fill up quick on these trains. But again, the overhead storage is more than big enough to hold a medium or large size suitcase, as long as you can lift it up that high. We were in seats 3A and 4A on this trip, the single seats along the windows. We selected the seats facing each other, and there was a table which had fold-out portions to increase the size. On this train, each seat had a European-style power outlet next to the seat and a small trash bin in the table with an LED lamp. There's a foldable armrest on the aisle side of the seat. On the seats not facing each other, they had a footrest that flips down from the seat in front of you. There is plenty of legroom. The seat is comfortable, but we preferred the fabric seat from one of the other trains, which was firm but contoured with lumbar support. This seat was a little less supportive, but it wasn't bad. The legroom was a bit tight, and Trevor and I ended up bumping knees several times, but it wasn't an uncomfortably tight space. RENFE has different generations of these train cars, so the exact style of the seats can vary, but comfort class is always 1-2 seating. All AVE trains also have bathrooms on board. You'll find one in each car. Wi-Fi is available on board for free using your ticket number. You can find your ticket number on the original PDF that you received during booking, or by going to the past details in your digital wallet on your phone. It's a 14-digit number. On this train, Wi-Fi never worked, but on another AVE ride a few days prior, the speeds were slow, about 1.5 up and down. When connected to Wi-Fi, you can use the Play RENFE app to watch movies and live TV. There are a reasonable selection of movies and TV series on demand, but you may not get to be too picky if you're relying on it for your entertainment. There were options in several languages to choose from and some popular movies. This class of ticket doesn't include any food or beverage. There is a cafe car, and just after each stop, there's an in-aisle service. We got 2 coffees, which were instant-style Nescafe at about €2.50 each. The cafe car has meal boxes for purchase, sodas, water, tea, coffee, beer, and wine. It did get crowded, so if you can order from the aisle service, that's your best option. Tap to pay is used on board, and MasterCard and Visa were accepted. We arrived about 5 minutes late into Madrid Atocha, but otherwise the ride was uneventful. We connected through Madrid to continue on to Valencia. This required a station change from Atocha to Chamartin. High-speed train tickets generally include a Cercanías or commuter train ticket for free, available for up to 3 hours before or after your journey. We'll include some more details about this process at the end of the video. But if you're making this change, we suggest you plan at least a 1-hour connection. The walk from the Cercanías station at Chamartin is quite a ways from the high-speed station. Chamartin is a couple of stops up the C line from Atocha and takes about 15 minutes. We used the QR code from our PDF ticket to board the commuter train. The digital ticket on your phone does not get you entry. We had to ask a RENFE employee for assistance. Our next leg was from Madrid Chamartin to Valencia. The Chamartin station is under heavy renovations, but if you're doing the same thing, just follow the blue Alta Velocidad arrows, which will guide you to the high-speed platforms in the nearby terminal. On the second train, we were in seats 6A and 7A, again facing each other on the single side of the car. This train was similarly equipped, but a different model. It had the same essential setup with seats, power, etc. The Wi-Fi did work on this one, and the speeds again were about 1.5 up and down. This was the fastest RENFE train we were on, maxing at about 302 kilometers per hour. There was one intermediate stop. We ended up arriving about 5 minutes late into Valencia. And that's RENFE's high-speed product. It's still great compared to what we have in America. There is a website with a lot of information about which trains and which coaches are on which routes. So if you're planning a trip, it may be helpful. We'll link it down in the description. Iryo presents itself as a premium product, competing with RENFE's AVE service. They also focus on a premium dining experience, ranging from an optional street food menu on their cheaper tickets up to their Infinita Bistro. The Iryo website is pretty easy to navigate, and they clearly break out their fare classes in advance. When searching, trains are shown with 3 main service class options: Inicio, Singular Only You, and Infinita Bistro. When you select one of these, more options are shown to help you dial in your ticket. One note is that when you select certain add-ons, there can be other required add-ons, so it just upgrades your ticket to the next tier. Iryo also allows your ticket to be loaded into your Apple or Google Wallet. Again, you'll need to go online and trigger an email which sends the link to your device. You can do this after booking through their website. One important note, Iryo Inicio tickets do not include large suitcases. All other ticket classes include 1 large suitcase and 1 cabin bag. Iryo employees will stop you if you try to board with more bags or have a ticket that does not include a suitcase. We booked Iryo from Valencia to Madrid. The cost was roughly the same on Iryo at €35 as the ticket would have been on RENFE and even WeGo. We selected the Infinita Bistro, and it was €55 each, which included a lunch service, drinks, and coffee. Also, this fare included the seat selection, which would have been €4. There were a couple of other add-ons included, like the ability to change the name on the ticket or to bring a pet. We were able to select our meals in advance when booking. The Joaquin Sorolla train station is compact and easy to navigate. Boarding was allowed about 20 minutes prior to departure and was split into 2 lanes, one for the Infinita classes, coaches 1, 2, and 3, and one for the other ticket classes, coaches 4 through 10. A quick note that this is the high-speed train station. Valencia Nord is for medium distance and local train routes, and some Barcelona routes. Valencia Nord is about a half a mile closer to the main square. If you're walking from the high-speed station, it's a bit of a hike and the sidewalks are embossed tile most of the way, so it's a bit bumpy for rolling luggage. We were in coach 1, seats 6D and 7D, which sit opposite each other. These seats had plenty of legroom and were more comfortable than the RENFE comfort class seats. The seats were leatherette and nice and wide. They were a bit on the firm side, but comfortable for the 2-hour ride today. Standard features were available like coat hooks at each seat and a window shade. The overhead storage was clear, but some areas had opaque advertisements covering them up. There was plenty of room for the larger luggage. Even though the car was less than half full, the luggage area still filled up very quickly. The table between the chairs was large and folded out. There were 2 trash bins, one on either side. We departed the station right on time. This train maxed out at 280 kilometers per hour, so a little slower than the RENFE train on the Madrid to Valencia trip. Wi-Fi was on board and was free, and accessible without any special steps. It was about 5 megabits per second up and down. It did come and go throughout the journey, so it wasn't consistent. It cut out completely about 20 minutes from Madrid. The entertainment on board was very limited, and all of their options were only in Spanish. None of the movies or shows were familiar to us. The meal service began shortly after departure with a moist towelette. The pre-ordered meals were then served along with a choice of beverage, warm bread and gazpacho. There were 3 meal options available when booking trains departing after 10 a.m. The Iberico option including jamon, cheese, and a cod and potato salad, a stuffed chicken roulade with mashed potatoes, and a gorgonzola pasta dish. These were light meals, but the food was good. Wine was served from the bottle, and there were a few options to choose from. After the meal service was done, a coffee and tea service came through. All in all, this took about 1 hour of the 2-hour ride. We arrived exactly on time into Madrid. The Iryo trains were more modern, with easy-to-read monitors in the coach, which showed our position on the map and speed. Iryo, like RENFE, has restrooms in each train car. They were simple and clean. Overall, while this cost slightly more than the RENFE on the same route, we found the product was comfortable and more modern than the RENFE trains we'd been on. We opted against booking any of our recent trips on WeGo. We found the travel times didn't work with our schedule, and they weren't really any cheaper than the other 2 trains when you include a seat, luggage, and such. Now, for some general tips about high-speed rail in Spain. If you're booking the higher class tickets and planning on having a meal on board, particularly on RENFE, be sure you note what time you're traveling. Hot meals are served in specific windows, like 1 to 3 p.m. for lunch and 8 to 10 p.m. for dinner. Outside of those times, you'll get a smaller snack box with a sandwich and chocolates. Keep in mind, dinner is later in Spain. Aside from the seat type and luggage allowance, most of the pricing differences center around the flexibility and changes. If you're well organized and good with keeping to a schedule, you can save quite a bit by booking the cheaper fares. If you need flexibility or you have uncertain travel plans, the more expensive tickets may be a good idea. Or make sure you add on the flexibility options when booking. Many of the trains we were on were very full, especially in the less expensive cars. Don't expect to have wide flexibility to change to a different train even if your fare allows changes, especially in the less expensive cars. We have found, like most things these days, it's cheaper and safer to buy your tickets directly with the provider. It's always a good idea to check with other services to comparison shop. But if you have an issue with your ticket, it's easier to troubleshoot when you are on the train if you've purchased it directly from the service provider. Also, we wouldn't recommend relying on Wi-Fi on board. It was hit and miss. Cell phone service can come and go during the ride. So if you need to work or just want to watch something, make sure you have it downloaded in advance, just to be safe. If you're traveling through Madrid, especially from one side of the country to the other, be sure to check your stations. Madrid has 2 train stations, Atocha near the city center and Madrid Chamartin in the northern portion of the city. They are not the same, and it's 5 miles or 8 kilometers between the stations. If you need to transfer between the stations to catch your next train, you can take the Circanus commuter train to transfer, which is generally included in your high-speed rail ticket. You can also take a taxi or bus. You can check your ticket for the Circanus label to make sure. It is printed on the RENFE tickets in the upper right-hand corner near a 5-digit code and second QR code. On Iryo, it's listed at the bottom of the ticket. For RENFE tickets, the QR code in the upper right-hand corner can be used to board Circanus trains directly. Just scan it at the turnstile. We received conflicting guidance on this before our trip. For other carriers, you need to scan your train ticket at the Circanus ticket kiosk to generate a ticket for the connection. At the kiosk, select the Combinado Circania and scan your high-speed train ticket. A new Circanus ticket should be printed. In either case, you can use this connection once up to 3 hours before a trip and once up to 3 hours after a trip. Hopefully this video is helpful for planning your next trip to Spain. We were on 3 similar length AVE trains with RENFE, and each train was entirely different, so there isn't a great deal of consistency in their products. Iryo, on the other hand, has a smaller fleet of trains, and they are all in the same age and setup. The seats had more legroom, and the cars were nicer than the AVE trains we were on during our trip. Years ago, we took the AVE from Madrid to Barcelona, and at that time, the car was nicer. So on a more competitive route, RENFE may use their better equipment. Was one product better than the others? No, not really. The low-cost options were nearly as much as the high-speed trains once you started adding in luggage and seat reservations. All train carriers are priced competitively with each other. RENFE by far has the largest network and the most coverage. Thanks for watching our high-speed rail journey around Spain. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. And check out our entire Spain playlist. We've included a link in the description. We'll have new episodes coming up over the next few months. If you want us to cover more train journeys, let us know down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next adventure.